What's up, world? It's the Javelin Breakdown, bringing you episode 12 of the Javelin Breakdown show. Got a lot of ground to cover today. We're talking about Division 1 East and West prelim preview, Division 2, Division 3 nationals, NAIA nationals preview. We also got some great competition results from both men and women from the professional side of things. And then we'll close, as always, with throws from the people. So again, a lot of ground to cover. As always, a big thank you to Spearworks for sponsoring the show. If you're not familiar, Spearworks is an awesome company that produces a lot of great products, really supportive of the Javelin community, because Spearworks is a company by Javelin throwers for Javelin throwers. So if you're not familiar, again, really recommend you check them out. Really looking forward to this summer, the Viper coming out, as well as getting the chance to work with some middle school, elementary school, middle school athletes throwing the Ghost Javelin as well. And so just again, a big shout out to Spearworks for sponsoring the show, being supportive of the Javelin community as always. But let's jump into the show.
Yeah! Let's go! Come on! Let's go! Yeah!
Just a note before we jump into things, different shirt than usual. This is my 2018 D3 National shirt. Thought that would be fun to wear given this week. D3 Nationals as well as D2 and NAIA. And in any of the graphics to the left here, if you see a little yellow star next to someone's name, that means that they were an All-American. They were top 8 at last year's Nationals. So I'll have that across all graphics for any topic. So we're going to take a look at the Division 1 men first. We're going to start in the East. And so the East prelim is stacked on the men's side. And so, this show is going to be very much by the numbers. There really hasn't been much throwing from the collegians over the last couple days, and so really don't have too much video for you, but I've got a lot of great numbers. And so there are 21 men over 70 meters in the East, and there's only 12 spots, so it's going to be pretty tough. 73-14 was 8th place at last year's Nationals, and there are 13 men over 72, out of those 21 in the East. So basically, looking at last year's numbers, looking historically at numbers, there's going to be guys that are capable of All-American distances that won't make it to the national meet. And this is true every year, but in particular this year, the numbers are really deep. And so it's unfortunate, but also extremely impressive just that the quality of throwing, in particular in the East, is so high. On the flip side, the West prelim has a little more breathing room. So they have 13 guys over 70 as opposed to the 21 in the East, and then 7 guys over 72 as opposed to the 13 in the East. But there are 20 guys in total over 68. So there's plenty of people in striking distance of that 70, and it's definitely going to be tough to make it out of either prelim, but the East definitely looking the stronger of the two, the more difficult. But there's a lot of guys that are within that striking distance. Like I said, if you're a 60 high guy, you're thinking, man, like every year a 67, 68 meter throw sometimes makes it. That could be me. And if you're a 64, 5, 6 guy, you're thinking, I'm gonna go and see what happens if I can pop a PR. Maybe I'll make it. And then if you're that guy that's in that 70 to 73 range, you're like, whew, I kind of need to show up and produce close to my best just to make it through. So it's going to be tough either way, regardless of who you are. The big name missing from the start lists of the East prelim is going to be Keyshawn Strawn, your collegiate leader. And so that's unfortunate, hoping all's well. So if you're watching, hope you're able to rest up and whatever you got going on, hopefully you recover soon, and would love to see you back throwing again later this summer in preparation for World Championships. But if not, we know you've got plenty of good years ahead of you, and we look forward to seeing what your career has, whether there's more throwing to be had this season or not. That's the best wishes to you, Keyshawn. This is kind of note in general for the whole show, but in particular for these East and West prelims for the men and women. There's so many quality throwers. I wish I could go down the list and talk about why I'm rooting for so many of you. So, I've messaged many of you good luck, and I just really looking forward to seeing how everyone does, and I'm pulling for all of you. I want to see everybody do well, and unfortunately only 12 of you will advance from each prelim, and so some people are going to be stuck at home, even though they're great throwers, but your value as a person extends beyond that, but it's tough. So I'm pulling for you and hope you can put it together. Taking a look at the women's field, we have a bit of a flip-flop, and so the West prelim is where things are truly stacked, and so there are 25 women over 50 meters, and there are 15 women over 53 meters in the West prelim. So to give you an idea of the depth there, Sofia Rivera, who's ranked pretty high this year, got ninth at last year's Nationals with a throw of 53.87. So she got ninth with that throw, and there are 15 women over 53 just in the West. So that gives you the idea of the depth in the West prelim. Whereas on the East side, there's 14 women over 50 meters and 5 over 53. So that's a big difference, but still some quality throwing in the East. You know, you got Madison Wiltrot, you got Dana Baker, Leonie Troger, and so it's definitely still going to be competitive. But the West definitely is looking the stronger of the two, the much more difficult to make it out of. But we'll see weather. Weather historically, sometimes kind of flip-flop in terms of whether it's nice or not for these meets. And so I'm hoping it's nice and hoping that it comes down to who's able to produce great throws and no rain, no slosh fest, no gross wind. Let's just decent conditions so that everybody can do their best. To just be honest, I don't know if I'm really a huge fan of this regional system. I mean, I'm coming from 4 years of Division III where I knew where I stood. I looked at TFRs and was I in the top 20 or not? And so it's pretty clear. And so that's how Division II and Division III still work. And so I can kind of see the value of the prelim and keeping balance of teams coming from each side of the country. But by the same token, you look at the depth this year and you're like, it's pretty, obvious that there's a good chance that, on the men's side, there's going to be guys that don't make it out of the East that would have made it out of the West. And so that kind of begs the question of is that fair? Well, I'm sure that's the case every year in every event. But at what point do you say, there's a better system? I don't know. So I'd be curious if anyone has an argument in favor of this system that doesn't have to do with balancing teams coming from different places. I'd love to hear it. I think, from the little thought I've put into it, I'm more of a fan of the system that is in place for Division II and III, which is that there's a certain number of qualifiers, and if you're within that top, if you produce a great throw, then you earn the right to go. But by the same token, that can be frustrating because there's plenty of people every year who go to a national meet at the Division II and III level because they produce one great throw, but the rest of the season they don't produce. So that's unfortunate. So, there's a flip to it. So again, would love to hear in the comments if anyone has any thoughts. And like I said earlier, I'm rooting for everybody, so I'll have those live results up and I'll be spamming the refresh button and just looking forward to hopefully seeing everybody do well. And it's unfortunate that only 12 people can advance, but still, many of you, congratulations on fantastic seasons, making it to the regional meet, and I hope you can do your best.
Hey Google. Hey Bill, back again? Looking for Premier League stats? Or how about cars? I know you love a good deal. No, not today. My son started javelin throwing. See the hat? So he's getting pretty serious, and I figure I should get him a javelin. So what are my options? Okay, javelins. Well, let's see. There's a bunch of brands. I want the best for my son. What's the best I can get? What do the professionals use? Well, a lot of people like this Swedish company. They sell a carbon javelin. That's very popular. Cost $1,800 plus shipping. Nope, can't do that. Let's go down a tier. What's a good model that college throwers use? Okay then, I see a lot of college kids throwing this purple javelin. It looks like a 70 meter will cost $600 plus shipping. Seriously? These are so expensive. Okay, what else is there? Alright, Bill. Okay, there's this beginner 50 meter javelin. It's $300 plus shipping. Okay, that's better. Can I customize it? No, that's extra, and it's through a third party. Okay, Google, come on. You're supposed to be the best search engine in the world. Find me a brand that sells a good quality javelin that's not marked up to the moon, and I can customize it for my son. Bill, why didn't you just ask that before? Spearworks fits all those criteria. I'm a search engine. I can't read your mind. Well, I kind of can, but anyway, Spearworks has it all. They make the Raptor javelin. Each javelin is made to maximize flight potential, and it's fully customizable with paint jobs, laser-etched logos, or names on the point. It's amazing. Each javelin is also serial numbered and is World Athletics certified, meaning it's legal for your son to throw in any meet in the world. Wow, that sounds amazing. Okay, moment of truth. What's it going to cost me? Well, Bill, for your son, he'll be throwing an 800-gram javelin, so a customized two-tone 50-meter javelin from Spearworks would be $400 plus shipping based on where you live. All right, well done, Google. My son's going to be really happy. Thank goodness for Spearworks.
Taking a look at some professional throws before we preview the national meets for Division 2, 3, and NAIA. A new world lead on the women's side. So Sigrid Borg throws 66.50. So it's a new world lead. It's a PR throw for her. So competing in Germany. Andreas Dorkilsen actually in attendance for this competition. So pretty cool. And so Sigrid getting over 60 meters for the first time since 2019. So really cool to see her progression. I'm excited to see what the rest of the season holds for her. That's a pretty significant several meter PR, and to produce such a quality throw this early in the season. And that's not something she's done before. This is a pretty significant jump. So hopefully we can see more from her like this. I was really looking forward to seeing the results from the Grand Prix in Japan, and it did not disappoint. So Roderick Dean took the win with 82.03 on the men's side, so defending his home turf. And then on the women's side, we had some dominance from the Oceanic region. So Mackenzie Little with the win, 64.10. Tori Peters with a PR, 63.26, which Tori's my dark horse pick for this season to be shaking things up. And 63.26, that's the kind of throw that gets things done. So, a little bit of a I told you so here. So congratulations to Tori on the PR. We're looking forward to seeing more from you. And then Kelsey Lee Barber, your defending two-time world champion, looking a little sharper, 61.95 for third. And then in fourth, your hometown favorite, Haruka Kitaguchi, 61.34. And so she had the world lead until Sigrid took that over the last couple days. Jumping back across the world to Tucson, Arizona, you've got the Tucson Elite Meet, now known as the USATF Throws Fest, a meet that has quite the history of high-quality throwing. So Curtis Thompson takes the win there, 79.34. And so just kind of paraphrasing a post on Instagram from Coach Tom Puxis, the atmosphere, I think the guys were really gunned up, really, motivated to do well. And unfortunately, I think that made everybody a little too tense. And I got some messages from some people who were on the ground who said similar things. Just like the atmosphere, guys were just, really wanting to put it together. And unfortunately, that just didn't create for the right conditions muscularly to let things come together. But exciting that everybody really motivated, getting after it. Just a bummer that there wasn't, 79.34, it's still really far. But, I'm sure, a lot of those guys, especially Curtis, were looking for something more. But, it's an opportunity to learn, opportunity to grow. On the women's side, we saw some bigger throws. So Maggie Malone takes the win with a season's best of 62.28, and she had 3 throws over 60 meters, so I'm sure she's feeling pretty good about that. I want to shout out Rebecca Wales, had a season's best throw, and is just continuing to build strongly over the last couple years. And so she went over 58 meters her senior year at LSU, and has had to battle back from some challenges over the last couple years. And so just excited to see her continuing to throw, continuing to grow down in Alabama with Tom and the crew. So shout out to her for the season's best and pulling for her to continue to grow. So well done. Now previewing the Division 2 national meet. So your national leader, Keeley, is not entered in the meet. So Ryan Brown is your top athlete coming into the meet with a mark of 48.71. Elizabeth Pomado is ranked 13th, but she is your returning silver medalist. And then same Trinity Clark is ranked 20th, but is your returning bronze medalist. So, some experience is still in this field, but, maybe not quite in the form they were in last year. The quality of the field is also elevated. So it's a tight group at the top. It's anybody's game. Excited to follow along and see what happens with the Division II women's field. On the men's side, your defending champion, Jordan Davis, is coming in hot. He's ranked number 3 this year with a 74-meter 37 throw that he recently produced to win up in New England. So he's ready to defend his title. DeVoe of Angelo State just threw over 73 to win his conference meet, so he looks strong. Your national leader, Dijon, has gone over 70 in 7 meets this season, spanning all the way back to February. So one of the earliest competitors when it comes to Division II. So we'll see if he can hang on to that form. And there's 5 men coming into this meet with 70-plus meter marks on the season. So pretty strong depth for Division II men. Just a side note, I'm personally pulling for Leif Nelson and Bobby Maxwell. I've been following their progress all season and just pulling for them. So guys, if you're watching, good luck. Taking a look at the Division III fields. So on the women's side, Ava Nelson, your defending champions, coming in ranked 4th. A very competitive field this season, so it's going to be tough, but certainly possible for Ava to defend her title. Avery Decker, 7th last year, but coming in as the national leader with 2 massive meets over the last couple weeks, and so she's going to be hard to beat. But Isabel Deal of Ursinus recently also produced a great throw, 47.24, so she's in great conditions. So just some speculation, if the weather's decent up in New York, I'm thinking, 46, 47 meters is going to be needed to win, which is a little further than what it's taken historically. So it'll be interesting to see. In this women's field, I'm definitely pulling for Brianna Leverance. Been working with her all season long as part of the Javelin Breakdown squad. So excited to see how she can put things together. She's been working really hard. On the men's side of Division III, congratulations to Rowan for qualifying 4 men to the championship meet. Your defending champion is now at Arkansas because he's actually focused on being a decathlete, so he just happened to win the Javelin last year, which is incredibly impressive. But Will Lawrence is your highest returning finisher, so he's your returning silver medalist. Will's thrown only in 3 meets this year, 66 meters, 69 meters, and then 62 at his conference meet. So it'll be interesting to see where he's at this week and if it's enough to move from 2nd to 1st. But he's going to be definitely challenged by a number of guys, including Greg Peloso from Rowan, who's got to be a favorite considering his form this season. He's gone over 68 twice this year, several other big throws over 65 and 66, and he boasts a PR of over 70 meters from last season. But like I said, there's definitely a lot of guys that are going to be coming and fighting for the podium spot. I'm thinking 63, 64 meters, maybe even to take a spot on the podium, which would just be insane. But I'm pulling for that to come true. I'd love to just see an all-time level competition. And in particular, I'm definitely pulling for Jacob Board. The man, I'm telling you, he's got one big in the tank. I've seen some things. Little birdie may have told me, and so these things, oh man, I'm just so excited for him. So good luck, Jacob. Pulling for you, dude. Let's get after it. And really looking forward. I was a D3 guy, a little biased. I'm really excited to see just the level of throwing continue to grow, especially at the D3 level. And that's what's one of the cool things about track and field. It doesn't matter what level you're at, you can go and produce amazing results. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, you don't have to be at the Division I level to produce a Division I level mark. So again, I'm really excited for these Division III competitors. Taking a look at the NAIA, I talked about him last week. Your defending champion, David Friedberg, just threw 71 meters 23. So he's several meters clear of the next competitor, 2nd-ranked Jacob Blatnick. So, we'll see what David can do. The NAIA record is 75.46. So we'll see if that's still standing after this weekend. That's a little bit ahead of where he's been, but I think that's, he's shooting for the win and certainly shooting for a really big throw. So we'll see if that record is still standing after this weekend. On the women's side of NAIA, your highest returning ranked athlete is Alex Conley, ranked 2nd with a throw of 46.11. Laurel Barber is ranked number 1 with 48.81. She finished 7th last year, so definitely worked hard this offseason and had a strong season and coming in ranked 1st. And I'm sure many of you know I'm going to be pulling for Kendra of Valley City State. I consult with her and her coach Robinson, so really pulling for Kendra to put things together. She's ranked 3rd with a great throw of 45.96 from this season, but she's definitely capable of more, so we're excited to see what she can do. And this week in my throws from the people section, I'm shouting out Sven Dekker. He's the number 1 ranked javelin thrower in the Netherlands for the under 16 age category, throwing PR throw 51 meters 59. So this is just awesome. So big shout out to Sven. Thanks for sharing your throw. And as always, really appreciate everyone's support of the show. It takes a lot of work, a lot of time to research, get all the data, accumulate it, type it up, record here. I'm going to turn around and edit this. I'm going to get up early tomorrow, do the graphics. And so I want to get this out so you guys can see this in time, leading into the regional and national meets. And so, a like, a comment, send it to a friend, subscribe, all those things are extremely helpful for just spreading the page, spreading the love, the community. So again, really appreciate it. And as always, a big thank you to Spearworks for sponsoring the show. By javelin throwers, for javelin throwers. It just makes sense. So again, big appreciation to them. And as always, guys, remember to enjoy the journey.